Search and rescue teams are looking for survivors in Moore, Oklahoma today after a massive tornado destroyed schools and flattened entire neighborhoods.
As many as 91 people, including 20 children, were killed, and the death toll could rise. We have two stories from CBN News, beginning with Dale Hurd.
I see the debris! I see the debris! Guys, it's heading right toward us!
The deadly EF4 tornado cut a path of terrible destruction, 2 miles wide, 12 miles long. Neighborhoods flattened, homes and schools destroyed.
And I got in the safe room, and about a minute after the safe room, I hear woof. And all you can do is smell sheetrock and wood, and it was over like that.
The twister packed 200-mile-per-hour winds, shown here from a family's underground shelter, and then the devastation afterwards.
The Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away.
To put that in perspective, that's about like a 2-mile wide lawnmower blade going over a community, just wiping out everything in its path.
Worst of all, the destruction included an elementary school filled with students when the storm hit. The violent winds flattened walls, killing at least 20 children.
I was on the ground, and my ears just went beep, and I couldn't hear anything except cracking and kids screaming.
Frantic rescuers raced to pull children from the rubble. This morning, officials fear more young victims are still inside.
We were pulling house walls off of people. There were people crawling out from everywhere and anywhere.
Our hearts are just broken for the parents that are wondering the state of their children that have been in the schools that have been hit today.
The storm left scores of city blocks barren and dark. Rescuers walked through neighborhoods to see if they could hear any voices calling out from the rubble.
Going through house to house, very detailed, digging under everything, debris, closets, shelters, backyards, just anything we can find.
But while there was a great deal of tragedy, there are also stories of hope. CBN's Michelle Wilson brings us two families' stories of survival.
I was just waiting to be sucked up. I felt like we were going to be sucked up.
Melissa Smith and her daughter Alexis quickly drove to pick up her eldest daughter Jewel, who was in gym class. That's when it hit.
Behind me is the gym where the kids were told to take cover, and just looking at the magnitude of the wreckage, it's a wonder that anyone survived.
They said everybody get down, the lights went out, you know, you could hear it, and the ceiling just started falling down on us.
And our ears were popping, and then someone hit us in the head.
As Melissa and her daughters huddled in the gym, they found out it wasn't as safe as they thought it would be.
I just got on top of my kids. I'm bleeding in the back of my head now.
There's just miles of down power lines, and people are everywhere. Parents are here to pick up their children, and they're just trying to make sense of it all.
We spoke to the Anamane family, who took shelter at a nearby building. They all survived.
I said, God, please help us stay safe in this tornado if we have one. They said amen.
Well, our hearts and prayers go out to those who are survivors of this horrible tragedy. And Operation Blessing is now mobilizing disaster relief to Oklahoma. We'll be working with local churches and agencies across the area. Heather Sells has that story.
Just hours after the deadly tornado hit, this Operation Blessing convoy was heading to Moore. The Oklahoma City suburb is just 4 hours north on I-35 from Granbury, Texas, where Operation Blessing spent the last week attending to survivors of that tornado. More than 500 volunteers have worked to clear trees and debris and help families like the Thompsons recover their belongings.
The Operation Blessing volunteers immediately were able to start boxing up everything that was still left. We found baby pictures, pictures that we thought we lost just in the rubble.
Thompson says God saved him and his wife and 2 babies the night the tornado hit. He had just changed jobs, allowing the family to attend church on the other side of town.
The tornado came through so quick that I heard nobody had time to react, when it came through and take shelter. So like I said, if I was at work still and with the kids and the wife here, I don't see how they would have made it, being the destruction it is like this.
But now Operation Blessing is shifting gears to focus on the disaster in Oklahoma. It loaded 2 truckloads of food and relief supplies last night to send to the devastated area, and it will coordinate with partner churches and agencies to provide much-needed help to the victims of this terrible tragedy. Heather Sells, CBN News.
Help us to do more. Give to the 700 Club. When you become a member of the 700 Club, you're part of Operation Blessing. A portion of every gift goes into the work of everything they do around the world. But right now we need to focus on these disasters, both in Texas and now in Oklahoma. The situation in Moore, Oklahoma is beyond belief. It's like a war zone. So if you want to help, just call the toll-free number, 1-800-759-0700. And if you want to be part of the volunteer team, all you have to do is go to ob.org. And on the home page, there's a place where you can click, and it'll link you into all the detail about how you can volunteer to help those in need.